If your intention is to practice your ukulele, you're going to have to do it intentionally. You'll actually have to schedule some time for it. If we wait for time to come, it won't come. If you think you'll do it maybe tomorrow, then other things will come up tomorrow to push it aside. Make it a priority. It's only going to take you 10 to 15 minutes, so actually schedule it. Give yourself a time where you're actually going to do it, and have a little bit of a plan. When you study it, you're going to have your own little mental breakthroughs. Sometimes things that weren't clear at all suddenly come into focus. Sometimes some things that you thought you knew, you get a new look at from another angle and a greater understanding. Here I've written 4 strings of a ukulele. Once again, those 4 strings are what it would look like if your ukulele were lying on a table with that piece of paper. When you pick your ukulele up one way and the page the other way, then it looks reversed. The thing to practice then is to make sure you know all your string names. Good children eat apples. Whatever you're working on, make sure you're verbalizing it. So it's G, C, E, and A. Good children eat apples. G, C, E, A. When that's really easy, go the other way. E, A, C, G. E, A, C, G. Go up and down. G, C, E, A, E, C, G. You can start to mix them up as well. One reason I've drawn this out is that we just had an experience in class where somebody had their own little breakthrough looking at this image and relating it to their tab. So I drew my strings like this, and then I separated these pictures a little bit. The image we usually work with is this little 3-fret box right at the end of the ukulele. We describe those open strings and then the closest frets to them. We want to play alphabetically, so if we're on an A, we go A to B to C to D to E to F to G, and after you get to G, what do? You start over at A. Because this G string is not generally tuned in the octave below the C, we actually use it as a drone and we don't use it in our melodies. So our melodies will start on the 3rd string C. Alphabetically, what comes after C? A D, obviously. Ds are 2 frets higher than C. After the D, A, B, C, D, E, we have an open E string. Fs are right beside E's, G's are next. A comes after G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and we get our B and our C. That's not news to you, that's the scale we've been playing. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Name them when you play them. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Come backwards. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Then what we can do is relate those lines, those strings, to your tablature or tab. In tab, you'll see the exact same 4 lines as your strings, and they'll have tab written there. This C is the 3rd string and it's open. So that C is represented with an open or a 0 for the C. On that same string, D is a 2. So when we want to play a D in tab, we show the 2 on that same string. So here I can look at an open and then a 2nd fret, C and then D. Here's the same thing represented on open and 2 on that string. The E then is the 2nd string and it's open. On the 2nd string is F, so if I want to play an F, I'll play a 1st fret. On the 2nd string, G is 3rd fret, so I'll put a 3 on that string. So the tab lines show you which strings you're playing on. The numbers tell you what the fret is on there. After G, we get to an A. That's the open 1st string. B is in the 2nd fret on that string, and C is the 3rd. Has it occurred to you that there's 2 C's? Did you know that before? And did you realize one's low and one's high? That's 1 octave of notes, 8 notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C is 8 notes. So here, this picture is like a snapshot of your ukulele showing the location of those notes. We have C and D, 2nd fret, E and F, 1st fret, G 3rd, A open, B 2nd, C 3rd. I can come back down. This is a representation of the same notes. This is read left to right. Tab is performance music, just like staff music, and you're reading it from left to right. Sequentially, you play what you're shown. So you start with the open, then you play that 2nd fret on the same string, that is your D note. The next is an open E string, 1st fret is F, 3rd fret G. The next thing you see is open A, 2nd fret B, and 3rd fret C. In practice, I like to come back down. In tab, if I want you to come back down, I'd have to continue writing 3, 2, 0, 3, 1, 0, and so on, showing you coming down. So as you get good at your scale and note naming, you can also practice reading those in tab. Tablature stands for the style of writing here, which shows the strings and the frets. Usually when we're reading tab, we're playing melodies. So you might see hot cross buns as open, second, and open. So it's say O to O on two different strings. O to O. This C is open 4 times. D is 2 4 times. Open E, second string open, third string 2 for a D, and C is open. In tab, you would see that written out number by number on the strings that they're located on. Because tab usually represents melodies to us, people often think that they're playing tab when they're playing melodies. That's not the case. Tab is this system of writing. I can write chords or melodies or a combination of both in tab. Just because you're playing a single note melody doesn't mean you're playing tab. Tab means you're reading off this kind of music. We also want to review every day your chords. This first line you know well already, C, but you could relate these notes. That 3rd fret note I'm holding is this C note. These opens are G, C, and E. So this too is an image drawn from that. So C, 1st fret has a C7 chord, F chord, G7. You should go back to C after you practice those. C, C7, F, G7, C. From the F, we could practice A minors, Fs, D minors. We also learned A7 with the finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret. For some reason, I just thought I should tab that one for you. Your chord pictures, your strings are going vertically. In tab, they go horizontally as they do in this picture. I don't always remember to do it, but I should write tab. So if I want this string, this open A, open, I'll put a 0 on it, or an O. This E is open, so this picture is now tilted into tab. 3rd string has a 1st fret, and 4th string is open. So that shows open A, open E, a 1st fret on this string, and an open G. This picture shows you the same thing. Open A, open E, 1st fret on the 3rd string, open G. So that just gives you an example of what your notes look like on tab or a chord. Notice they're stacked up at the same time. Because they're stacked up vertically, that is played simultaneously as a chord. A melody would be spread out note by note. So that's your A7. And we should play D minors and A7s together. Over here I wrote some of the songs that you've learned playing just 2 chords. I said that it could be C and G7. Right now we also know Fs and C7s that could go together. So He's Got the Whole World in His Hands would be Cs. He's Got the Whole World, G7, C. Jambalaya, This Train, Tom Dooley, etc. You've got a whole bunch of songs that will play just Cs and G7s, or you could play those as Fs and C7s. Streets of Laredo does not belong there. It's a 3-chord song. But those guys all have 2 chords. Deo also has 2 chords. We're playing that in C right now. So it's on a C, G7. So that one is Cs and G7s as well. What you're also learning is the relationship of those 2 chords. Cs and G7s go together all the time. C is the 1 chord, G7 is its 5. That gives you C, D, E, F, G. G is the 5th chord from C. The 5th chord often has a 7 on it. It's not necessary, but it can. We also know that we could play in the key of F. F, G, A, B, C. So C could be the 5 chord or C7. If I started on a G, G, A, B, C, D would be the 5 chord. So you could have a D or a D7. Not the D minor we learned so far. So here will be my G chord. It has this G note, this B, and this D in a triangle, and this open G string. A D chord, as in D minor, has this D note and this A. In D minor, you had an F. In D, you're going to have F sharp, 1 fret higher, and we'll have this open A string. So D is the 5 of G. To play it a little simpler right now, let's make it D7, and we can play that open C string there. So when you're learning chords, learn them in groups. G's and D7s go well together. G is your hardest chord right now. You may be having trouble learning it. Put your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and pointer on the 3rd string. This isn't very comfortable to have them pointing straight up and down. Twist around and give them an angle. Let your fingers scoot right into their frets. D7 then, you could get to a couple of ways. Notice these two notes, 2nd fret on the 1st and 3rd string, could move to 2nd fret of the 2nd and 4th string. So the chord change then would have these two fingers moving. Ring finger comes off, back to D7, back up and add the ring finger for G. All of those songs that are C's and G7s could have been F's and C7s, or they could be G's and D7s. So he's got the whole world in his hands. In F, we would be singing C notes. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Clearly a little low for me, so I can move it into G. And where I had F's and C7s, I can do now G's and D7s. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. Notice I'm not doing my D7 by moving these two fingers up and down. I'm actually sliding my ring finger back from the 3rd fret in the G chord to the 2nd fret in the D7. That's called a guide finger. It suits me to stay in contact with the fretboard a little bit more. This is very easy to make this move. I feel a little more lost and out of control if I let a chord go and go to a new one totally. That's just my own preference. You can do them either way you like. Try to learn that relationship between chords. Don't just have 6 random chords that you feel like relatively go together. Know that C's go with G's or G7s because C is 1 and G is 5 when you start on C. C, D, E, F, G. F's go with C's or C7s for the same reason. If you start on 1 where F is 1, F, G, A, B, C is 5, so they go together. G's and D's go together. G, A, B, C, D is the 5, so D or D7. They go with all kinds of other chords as well, but this is one of the most solid chord relationships there is, the 1 and the 5. The 5 wants you to land back on the 1. You can hear that tension of a C7 chord pushing you back to the F. Any of those songs that has a 1 and a 5 that you've been learning or playing from some other source could be C's and G7s, 1 and 5 in C, F's and C7s, 1 and 5 in F, or G and G7, 1 and 5 in G. You can even change from one key to the other on the same song. This is called transposing, when you take a song and move it from one key to the next. Often to suit your voice, often just to suit chords you would prefer. So that's it for now. Learn your G's and your D7s. Have a good one, guys. Take it easy.